Yo, what's going on, Flamers? This is Flaming Freedom, and we're live. It's it's Thursday, April 16th, 2015, and I am Derek J, broadcasting from Keene in the Shire.
And it's Lauren over here in Manchester, New Hampshire with Dale.
Yes, Dale. Bert. Or Dale.
Dale.
Dalebert. And
We're having an identity crisis over here. It's fine.
Well, we're all at flamingfreedom.com/live, where you can watch live video of the program and join in with others in the chat room. I am signing in right now, so I will be there, and you can say nasty things to me. As the trolls I want to do. Yeah. And we got a bunch of crazy things to talk about tonight. I got a few that I want to get off my chest. One, gay anarchist or semi-gay anarchist sent me an article about why libertarians should not believe that the South had the right to secede. And that was an interesting one. And also, some gay anarchists are taking a trip across New Hampshire tomorrow. There's gay anarchists taking a speeding ticket to trial tomorrow in Keene. So that's very exciting. And also, should mothers take their boobs out and feed their babies at restaurants? That got a bunch of crazy play on my Facebook today. So I want to talk about those things. What you got?
Right. I'm all for moms pulling boobs out wherever. That's fine.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll get into these subjects.
We're going to disagree, Dale. But anyway, what do you guys got going on?
Oh, I posted a lot of topics. The funny thing is, you and Lauren, who are pretty regular hosts on the show, obviously, you especially, Derek, do not usually click like on the subject thing when I post the subjects.
You and I were talking
you guys
about that
don't
earlier.
even seem to notice. Are you guys getting notifications?
I've even clicked the get notifications button too. I get it all. I just don't.
Make sure you've checked get notifications.
I'm just
under
asleep during the day. I don't know.
Listeners, go to Flaming Freedom on Facebook. Make sure you scroll down under the like button and click get notifications, or you're not seeing important things. Anyway.
So I'm going to the Facebook page right now, and I'm going to make sure that it says get notifications. Liked, get notifications. You click that.
That's checked. Yes.
It's checked. Yes.
You're missing so much stuff because Facebook filters most of it and keeps you from even seeing it in the first place.
And you don't want to miss it because look at this guy. Look what was just posted a minute ago. Is he the hottest thing ever?
He's ridiculously hot. Like he was sculpted by Aphrodite or something.
You've got a photo of you in the raccoon hat, which looks lovely.
Yes. Also gorgeous.
Also
gorgeous.
Scientifically engineered. So, all right, what else? What are your topics that you've got that you're complaining we don't like enough on Facebook?
Well, so there's this thing that is.
We're getting a call We're getting a call. Should we take it?
Your sound effects turned off.
I know. Sorry.
It's all right.
Should we take the call? I'll turn my sound effects off while we
should take the call.
Sure,
Callers come first on Flaming Freedom.
All right, caller, you're on Flaming Freedom.
I got to tell you, what's missing from those photos are Speedos.
Yeah, you're right.
I think
point.
That is an obvious oversight, and until they do feature Speedos around their tight little waists with V lines, then they're not going to be the sexiest things on the planet.
Go on.
And in addition to that, I'm seeing some defects with their eyes. I don't know if you're seeing that too.
All right, so listeners, we know who
he
this
wants
is.
the epithelial folds.
This is Neil, isn't
this guy doesn't have epithelial folds.
This is Neil with an I, by the way. I don't know if you were thinking of another Neil, but this is a totally different Neil.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
you have a lot of similarities to the other one.
Yeah.
I got confused. Sorry.
This is a totally random caller who happens to be obsessed with Asians and Speedos.
Well, I gotta brag about a totally effective method of motivation that I found for myself, and I think I'm gonna have to do this every single year. If you haven't already, you should attend the Speedo event that I have, a Speedo Day at Hampton Beach, where if you're already a liberated gay anarchist, with, as Derek says in the chat room, liberated buttholes, then you better sashay your Speedo-wearing clad ass down to a Hampton Beach in New Hampshire and just flaunt it.
You know what I said to this post? I said that we are not going to look like this. Derek and maybe Derek and Neil a little bit, but see all these like 16-year-old guys wearing Speedos. Some of them probably 18, 20, but yeah, they're gorgeous and all, but we're not going to look like that.
Is it for women too? Are they allowed, or is that not?
Absolutely, it could be a swim team theme. Sexy too. The thing, I'm kicking myself for never having joined this swim team. I think that was a completely missed out opportunity in my evolution as a gay. But I'm going to relive it.
It's never too late. You could join a swim team now.
I could, but I need the body to, and so that's the purpose of the event.
The swim team.
It's
the reason you join the swim team is to get the body. You don't join the swim. You don't avoid joining the swim team until you get the body. Like you're kind of missing the point there. I think, Derek. I mean,
right? The body or the swim team. But nonetheless, you have the opportunity to look like that. You have 15 weeks before this happens. You can look all pert and toned and what have you.
Anybody can if you're totally obsessed with your appearance and you spend a part-time. If you basically take up a part-time job of being of having a washboard abs, then you can. I mean, anybody can technically.
Almost none of these guys have washboard abs. They're just running.
I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Like, we are never showing up on the Google Hangouts image for some reason. When we talk, shouldn't we be showing up?
Yeah, it doesn't show up. It doesn't always show up for you when you're talking. But for the people watching at home, yes, it shows up.
Okay. All right. So just trust it. Okay, I'll trust it.
So I have the ability to pre-select what screen people see. So sometimes during this discussion, I've been pre-selecting that we only want to see Speedo guys.
That's understandable.
Doesn't matter what you're saying.
Studio or cute young guys in Speedos, the choice is obvious.
It's not a part-time job, by the way. In fact, here's what it's done for me. For the past almost.
You ever have washboard abs, Neil?
Gym every single night.
You've been going to the gym every night?
Yeah,
well, yeah. Whenever I find time, which is usually.
Neil, I was obsessive about going to the gym. I still didn't have washboard abs. Like, when have you had washboard abs? You're saying it like, oh, this is a thing that anyone can do. You just go to the gym every night. No.
Why no, Dale? I thought that is how it works. You go to the gym every night, you do a bunch of crunches and run on the treadmill, and then you have washboard abs. Isn't that how it works?
Yeah.
Bam. Just like that. No time at all.
Yeah, 15 weeks is a lot of time.
Yeah. It can happen. In fact, I've got my Speedo picked out. I made sure to get it like a size smaller. So it looks kind of more like a Japanese Speedo, which are just really tight and just
your dick is going to be squeezed so tight it comes out your asshole.
Good motivation.
It's going to be awesome.
Are you going to be wearing a chastity belt underneath this Speedo?
No, I'm not. Albeit I do have what do you call them? They're jock straps, but they're swimmers jock straps specifically for swimmers. So I've got the whole theme down.
What's the difference? I've got mine. I'm gonna go get mine while we're on air. Talk about something. I'm gonna get. It's not a Speedo, but Neil, are you able to see the cam? Because I'll show you what these look like.
Yeah, I've seen the cam. So please do grab it. So
I wasn't aware that we're already to that part of the show. I mean, isn't that like does not have its own segment?
When somebody calls in, that's what we're on.
No, I get it.
If you call in, you get priority.
Right, but like just the whole showing your underwear. I mean, maybe that should actually have its own segment. Like
It
an
would
entire
normally
segment of underwear.
Neil has accelerated things,
and
so
Speedos.
now
of course,
it's happening.
We'll
fast.
include you.
Neil with an I has accelerated things.
Yes. Wow, you're like Superman. Welcome back.
This has made me commit, and it's made things happen for me. It's planning an event and confessing publicly that this is going to be. You're going to be able to see Neil and the Speedo in late June or July or something like that.
All right,
so
can't wait.
I have to do similarly. Well, another subject too.
All right, hang with us. We'll be right back. This is Flaming Freedom. You can Skype in flaming.freedom.
LRN.FM needs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you still on, Neil?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. So show us.
Okay.
Please.
Can you see these? Oh, if you're watching the stream at home, you might not be able to see it as soon as I'm showing it. Like I'm showing it right now on the screen, but you probably can't see it for another minute or two.
I think I've seen those on you. They look very good on you.
Yeah, these look good. These are the ones I wore for the Liberty Forum episode.
That's where it was. Yeah.
Oh,
And
you
then
wore a Speedo to Liberty Forum?
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay.
You didn't wear one?
It was just for that one episode. It wasn't like I was wearing them as underwear that day. But then these are like, whoa, super cute and really gay looking.
Eric, you're stuck to tease right now because the video stream that I'm getting is only now when you're getting up to go retrieve the Speedos.
Oh, okay. Well, you're going to be able to have a look at them. These Speedos were purchased while I was under a master sub, like dom sub relationship, and I was in chastity, and the guy who I was who was my master in training at the time wanted me to get these so that I could, when I went to the gym and stuff, I would wear these at the gym with the chastity belt underneath. It would be it would be obvious to anyone who's looking, and it would be a sort of
kinky,
a kinky,
humiliating kind of thing,
right? But not too out there that it's like you're gonna get kicked out of this place. I thought it was really hot, but I ended up never doing it because I broke off this relationship with this guy before it ever happened. But
you never actually went to the gym in that gear?
No. I still have an opportunity to do it, but I ditched the gear. I gave it away.
Okay.
Wait, they wouldn't kick you out for wearing, briefs? Because Planet Fitness, I don't see that going over.
Yeah, I imagine trying to wear a Speedo to work out would be pushing it, I think.
Why?
Well, I imagine it might be a violation of the dress code.
Well, okay. Maybe not for swimming. Maybe I could go swimming in it.
Yeah, swimming. Yeah. But then didn't you say your metal chastity gear rusted out and caused you an infection? That's horrible.
Yeah, oh my God, it was such a nightmare. But it's all okay now. And I want to get one of those chastity devices that's made of poly whatever. It's like a
plastic
type. Yeah. Bio. That's what it's called. The do you remember? Holy Trainer version 2.
Yeah.
Such a great name, and it comes in a little Bible. Like you open it up and it's like a little Bible box. There's a chastity device inside. So kinky.
Yeah. I think it's pretty hot. Like the idea of it all is pretty hot. Both as a dom or a sub. Like as a dom, I definitely was really into chastity, and it's really hard. I have to say, as a dom, I pursued this very vigorously. I pursued trying to find a sub who was into chastity, and there's such pansies about it. The ones I was able to actually
why
with and really serious, because I didn't want to have I didn't want an email relationship with a sub. I wanted a in-person relationship with a sub, and I finally found someone, and he just really it's hard to find someone where you make that connection, where they're on the same level as you and thinking the same way as you, and so we ended up breaking it off. It's hard to say which side broke it off. I mean, it was like I think I did, but it was mutual.
Listen to LRN.FM on any phone, anytime. 213-493-0309. That's 213-493-0309.
Hey, what's going on? We're Flaming Freedom, and we're back. And we're talking with you. If you dial in on Skype at flaming.freedom. Right now, we're talking with Neil. That's Neil with an I. Not the Neil that you all know and love. Some different Neil. And welcome back to the show, Neil.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So you had more that you wanted to say, not just about Speedos, but about other stuff.
Yeah, it's the same concept. So just like creating a public event and holding me to a task, being that I'm going to be seen in public in a very, very skimpy Speedo coming up, has kept me going to the gym. I do have to declare another plan of mine that hopefully by doing so publicly allows me to hold myself to that commitment.
What is that?
So I sent you a page on Skype. I don't know.
Do you want me to?
pull
Do you
it
want
up.
me to share it?
Yeah, feel free to
Okay.
share it.
All right.
I have found someone who is inspiration for something I've been feeling for quite some time now. And from when I was a little kid, I essentially realized I'm transracial. And I've never really felt comfortable being Caucasian. I've idealized a particular ethnicity out there, or the aesthetic characteristics of that ethnicity. And I found someone that has done exactly what I thought could be or hoped could happen, and that is full ethnic conversion.
I think that's awesome, Neil. One thing I would want to give you a heads up about is that if you want to date Asian people, you're gonna have a better chance of doing that as a white person.
Ooh, see, now that just goes to the whole like trans thing again.
Wait,
that you
I was
up.
saying things that contradicted this very thing in the car, wasn't I, Lauren?
You were.
I missed it. You cut out for a second.
Okay, Lauren's on your point though.
So Dale was just
Let
telling.
me say what I was going to say first, and then Lauren can reply, because Lauren has a very good point. But what I said was, Neil, if he wants to date Asians, will probably have a better chance of that if he's white. And
Yeah.
looks. Now, having said that, Lauren, you have a reply to that.
Well, I got a lot of that back in the day when I was like, I really want to date women, and it really was easy. It was a easy thing to do. Like, they're just a dime. Straight women are a dime a dozen, let me tell you. But now it's like I just can't do it. And people were like, "Oh, we warned you. Isn't this what you wanted?" And it's like, well, yeah, it is. So I'm with you, Neil. I hear you.
What you're saying is, in order to be comfortable,
for you.
In order to be comfortable in your own skin, you needed to be a woman. You were a woman.
I'm just being myself.
You're being yourself, and you need to be comfortable in your own skin. You need to be yourself. And Neil probably needs to be himself, even if that means that he will have a harder time dating Asians. It's still what you need to do for yourself. Is that right? Would that be accurate, Neil?
I think so. I mean, I can always look in the mirror, right? If I need to get my fix. And yeah, it would be putting myself at a disadvantage with regards to attracting a mate of the same ethnicity, but it may allow me greater access to locales in Asia in order to, live life there.
You'll still stand out as being really tall.
See, that's the secret, Neil. Like, I hang out with tons and tons of beautiful women now, more than I ever have. I mean, I'm not having sex with them, but we get to like be together a lot. It's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I could go for the platonic thing of being surrounded by 2 billion Asians. But this guy, so the guy that you pulled up there on the screen,
Yeah.
he went through, and I was surprised at relatively how cheap it is. Only $3,000 worth of plastic surgery, mainly on the eyes, in Brazil. And so I have a Brazilian porcupine friend who is on the warpath, trying to track down the plastic surgeon that actually did this. So if I can find, I don't want to be a guinea pig for anyone else. This can be done. If I can find the guy, I'm highly motivated to just go down there and drop some cash on a vacation and a transformation.
How much money are we talking about?
He reports he spent $3,000 on the procedures, and then there'd be the flight there and the cost of staying, etc.
Well, it's like Kyle. Remember Kyle on South Park? He wanted negroplasty so he could be a tall black man to play basketball.
Yeah, and well, his father was it Kyle? Yeah, his father became a dolphin because he felt his heart. He was always a dolphin.
That's right. And I'm writing a book right now about people who turn into dolphins, and some people are going to laugh at me and make fun of me. That's okay.
So, whatever. Okay. I can't respond to that. I really can't.
We had to go in there. We had to say something funny. It was totally inappropriate. and totally not tactful at all. But we had
Well, like as a trans person, I get like
that episode was really offensive.
There's the argument.
Actually,
South Park is never offensive. Come on,
it was very offensive.
It's so cute. I'm off. Like I've gotten the speech before. Like, well, there was this one kid who wanted to be a polar bear, and he couldn't be a polar bear because he's not a polar bear. And it's like you're not a woman. Blah 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 blah. blah. And it's like, okay, yes.
The thing is, though,
I'm agreeing. I am not a woman. Maybe Neil is not Asian. However, like practically speaking, it results in this.
Yes.
Thing.
Well, here's the thing. The gender
I'm not
spectrum.
A woman. I'm looking in the camera right now and saying I am not a woman. It's very clear to me. I'm not psychotic.
Right.
So
from a strictly biological scientific perspective. That said, though, it is well within the realm of the human potential to be express male or female. It's not well within the realm of the human potential to express as a polar bear, a tall black man if you're not black, or a dolphin. Right? These are things that are, I mean, heck, if they have the science to make you into what you want to be, that's awesome for anybody, in my opinion. But that said, I think it's kind of silly because what happens to human beings is that we express in a not necessarily strictly binary fashion, even physically, right? Some of us express in a intersex fashion. So it's well within the expression of human beings to be male or female. It's not within our realm to be Asian, dolphin, or tall black man necessarily.
Did you just say Asians aren't human? That's offensive.
Yeah, but they're not human, really. Not really. I mean, they all look the same, and they're too good at math. They're probably robots.
Hey, speaking of robots, is it trans to be transhumanist?
That's a great question.
So, well, right? Because I mean, haven't I always, opined about the future in which humans shed their biological natures and become freed by robotic bodies, which would also enable me to take on more Asiatic features just by downloading a new software package.
Sure. I always thought that trans people would be the first to transcend into like their robot bodies because they could handle it. Like they could handle it mentally because of all the stuff that they've gone through.
They've already practiced.
They're ready for it. So the first transhuman will be trans.
Excellent point. Excellent point. They will be the diplomats. They will be the ambassadors into the transhumanism because they're the most experienced at it.
All right, good chat. Can we get rid of Neil? Neil, you're gone.
Get rid of this Neil with an I. God damn it!
Your ass.
Next time you hear from me, I'll probably be a new Neil. I need a Chinese name.
New Chinese name.
Neil, aren't you?
Neil-san.
Robotic and good at math.
So what? You're against the Japanese?
Who are you asking?
No, I was listening to Turning Japanese before I called in. That 80s song.
Oh, I should have that song. That should be your playout song.
See, I think this is actually where Neil and I differ quite a bit. I respect Neil's perspective, by the way. I think it's awesome that he wants to be Asian, even if that means he doesn't get as many Asian dates. I, on the other hand, I'm comfortable being white, but I want to date Latinos. I don't want to be Latino. I have no desire to be Latino. I just want to date them. That's all. So whatever gets Latinos into my pants is what I need to do.
Yeah, if only I could get that foreskin restoration.
Eric, you got any tips on that? Latinos into my pants. He's not listening to me.
No, I'm listening to the song. Is this the right song?
I get.
Yes, that's the song. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Entertaining listeners, because I'm on joking.
Oh, I have got
I don't think this is it. I think it's a different song.
No, that's it. That's it. The refrain is very short.
Well, why does it take so long for them to get to the refrain?
I don't know.
This is way too long. I'm gonna skip. Oh, I forgot. We can't play songs on, or YouTube will flag us. Anyway, we can play a little bit of a song. Hey, speaking of playing songs, I've got "I'm Too Sexy" loaded up for when we're ready to.
Like that's just right. Like I need some other. No, I can't. No, I get him.
So, what do you want? Some Jessica Rabbit music?
What is that? But yeah, whatever that is, I'd like that. Yeah.
Here it is.
1922.
Oh, right.
Why don't you do right?
7, right?
Oh, Mother Man.
All right, that'll be our song.
Okay, that'll be cool. I love the bass line. Oh, maybe
lucky Gail.
Oh yes. Mm-hmm. Betty Boop.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta watch that film again.
I know. I really miss it. Whenever I see Who Framed Roger Rabbit, I'm like, oh, sick day. I'm gonna stay home from school and watch Roger Rabbit. Okay. We're coming back in 20 seconds. I'm going to talk about moms putting their boobs out for feeding their babies in restaurants.
We need to get on that first.
Wow. I got so much.
Together.
People were so mad at me today.
Well, I'd love to find out why in a few seconds.
Yeah.
You can interact with other LRN listeners on our message board at forum.lrn.fm. That's forum.lrn.fm.
Women should not be forced to feed their babies in a bathroom. Support public breastfeeding, says this article over at Justin Everett Stout's Facebook page. Well, I reposted this photo saying, how about you don't bring an infant to a restaurant? Whoa, that got everyone all upset. So many crazy comments. People all telling me that I guess I hate women and I hate freedom because I don't want to see tits out at a restaurant. Is it just me?
Well, I think tits should be able to be out anywhere. I mean, do you think guys should be able to be shirtless in most places?
They should. Oh, are you
yeah.
there?
And what? No. Yes.
No.
Not in a restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of a necessity, though. I think if you have an unruly child who's really disturbing and noisy and everything,
bring that child to the restaurant.
Right. I agree with that. But let's say the child is actually being pretty well behaved and everything, and they're just feeding it, then no, I don't have a problem with that at all. I mean, I don't like boobies. I mean, I'm with you there. Boobies are.
What if I just
I'm not gonna lose my mind,
and I'm quiet about it and I'm discreet about it. I just want to take a shit right at the table. It's a natural process. So, are you telling me this isn't beautiful?
There's a difference between pooping and breastfeeding, though.
I don't think it's comparable to taking a shit. I mean, it doesn't even though I don't like boobs, I still am not disgusted because there's a woman feeding her baby. I mean, I think you're just not used to seeing it. I think if you were used to seeing it, you wouldn't give it much thought.
Okay, maybe that's true.
Yeah, I understand though. I mean, I don't want to say you're a woman hater or anything like that.
I just what I get upset about is I want to be able to have the freedom to say, yeah, I don't really like that. And then just that's it. Like, what can I just say that? It's like I get the same vitriol from like new mothers that I would expect to get from gay couples if I'm like, I don't like seeing gay couples holding hands. Yeah, I understand. Do that in private. Have your little relationship. Do what you want to do, but don't let me see that. I don't want that to be a norm.
I don't want to hear that shit. I don't care if they don't want to see me holding hands. That's their problem. Go home.
I know, but that's what the mothers say to me. And I'm like, I don't want to see your tits hanging out while you.
Hold on, help me understand this, Derek. Hold on. I'm not okay with someone telling me I can't hold hands in public for their benefit, because they don't want to see it. Like, if you don't want to see it, cover your eyes. I don't have to protect you from what you see.
So I'm
not going to be a hypocrite and say, oh, you have to cover your boobies and not feed your baby. That's my problem. It's not their problem. You know what I mean?
I think you guys are conflating reality with internet reality. So
Maybe so.
so yes, in a restaurant, I mean, like to suddenly we'll go up to someone and say, "I don't like your breasts. You should never show me your breasts. I hate your breasts." That's inappropriate. It would be very kind of rude to say that. But on the internet, you can just say,
You're just expressing your
"I
opinion.
hate breasts," and you can
You're saying
be as absurd as you want.
So what you're
And
saying is
so-
you're suggesting that like culturally maybe they just should not do it because it's kind of rude.
I'm not suggesting that. I'm
No.
just saying that I think part of this big argument that's being had and why so many people were passionate and angry at Derek for what he said is because it's like, Derek's not, you're saying that in the right place, Derek. You're doing a good job.
On the internet.
You're saying, this is my feeling. I have it. And you're not
Yeah.
saying you're going to harm anyone. You're not saying like that something's wrong. You're just saying how you feel.
Yeah.
And that's the right place for it.
I want to share a comment with you from this thread that got 46 likes on just a
Huh?
comment. Matt Whitlock says, I support the right of restaurateurs to establish and enforce policies within their restaurants. And I support the right of mothers to patronize restaurants whose policies they prefer.
Sure.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I think we all would probably agree with that.
I'm a libertarian, so of course I agree with property rights.
Well, I
That-
think that is like the most reasonable. It's the most reasonable stance on this entire thread. That's why I wanted to mention it. And it did get 46 likes, so it seems like everyone pretty much agrees with that, even if they disagree with me. Like one person, Nima Vadati says, I know it's a matter of preference. I just can't fathom why anyone would be upset by mothers doing the right thing, he says. Saying don't breastfeed in public is like saying don't walk with good posture in public. I disagree with that. I don't think it's about posture. I think it's about having a private moment with your baby that these mothers are like, isn't this so special? I just had a baby. I just squeezed one out and I want to show it to the whole world. And here's my boob. And I'm kidding. Isn't this pretty? Everyone, I would just like this, okay? Just
So-
like it.
My next question for you, Derek, is then
You don't have to
how
like
do you
it.
feel about
Mhm.
how do you feel about two men like kissing each other?
I like it.
So like if you were at a restaurant, you looked across the booth from across from where you were, there were two guys and they were like going at it. you'd
No.
be okay with that. No.
No, I don't want to see people eat in face at a restaurant. I'd like to see them eating off of their plates. I want to see children and all people, regardless of age, sitting with their asses in seats, eating food from plates with forks and knives. Like, I know I have this ridiculously high standard for restaurants, but that's what I think it should be.
Actually, you know what, Derek? I think you're expressing a consistency that I like, and that you have a beef with PDAs in inappropriate situations, and you're consistent about it. You don't have a separate standard for straight people and a separate standard for gay people, and in that sense,
Or
I think you're being
parent-child.
reasonable.
Mhm.
And right, a parent-child, like sticking your boob in a baby's mouth is probably a kind of PDA. Or
Totally PDA. All the guys on the comments threads were like, "Oh, I don't care. I like boobs as long as they don't mind me staring." I'm like, okay, you've turned something that is supposed to be a natural act between a mother and a child into something sexual and perverted. Maybe it's best that these mothers just take it outside of the public view and keep this moment to be private with themselves. Like, why don't you let this be a mother-child moment instead of a mother-child and the rest of the world moment?
I mean, certainly, there's a certain amount. Like, I know that people got kicked out of Denny's for having their arm resting on the back of the chair behind their partner, who was also of the same gender. Like, I think it was two women. I'm not certain, but their arm was just resting behind the back of a person of the same gender. This was not face eating, right? And they got kicked. This is in Atlanta. They got kicked out because someone complained about it. And so the staff came over and said, you need to go because this is not appropriate here. And it wasn't face eating. Like, that's the whole thing. It was not probably what even you would consider an inappropriate PDA, right? It was a very tasteful and tactful and not very obnoxious PDA.
Okay.
Right. So, okay. I hear where you're coming from. And I think you're being reasonable, and that's it. You've explained yourself well, I think.
Thank you. I just don't want to offend, because I have friends out there. I have several that I can think of who are mothers who have breastfed their children in front of me. And I have never been like, oh, please put that away. I'm so offended. It's just like, hey, I've got this preference, and I hear a lot of people stating their preference that breastfeeding should be out in public, Mothers should be able to do whatever they want. Free the boobies. I hear these everywhere. But if I make my comment about my different preference, oh my God, all of a sudden I'm an animal who has to be attacked. And, I'm not with it. And I hate mothers and I hate health. It's like, no, I'm all for breastfeeding. There's just a time and a place for everything.
Sure. That's why there's like changing tables in the bathroom. You go in the bathroom to change your baby's diaper. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I looked this up because I was not satisfied with just being right. I had to have more justification.
Okay.
I found Miss Manners actually has addressed this topic. Would you like to hear what Miss Manners has to say about it?
I would like to hear what
Please.
she has to say about it.
Miss Manners, what is your opinion of women who nurse their babies in public? Gentle reader, Miss Manners is fully aware of what will follow her answer. Lactation apparently stimulates the flow of ink in the pen, and nursing mothers emit great cries about the naturalness and beauties of this function, and therefore its appropriateness under any circumstances. These cries tend to be louder than the original cries of the babies. Nevertheless, Miss Manners is against the public nursing of babies, or anyone else. There seems to be a basic confusion here between what is natural and or beautiful and what is appropriate in public. The two often have very little to do with each other.
Absolutely.
I will have something to add when we come back, but just very briefly.
All right, plus we'll hear from your thoughts if you have them. Flaming.freedom is our Skype address. Do you agree? Should breastfeeding be something done in public?
You know what? I think I could add it now.
What?
I probably spoke a little bit too soon. Sorry about that.
All right, ready to go.
Blah, blah. Yeah, my thought is, I think that it's okay. I agree with you that you made your point, and I tend to agree with you that like in a restaurant, it's probably comparable to like macking face in a restaurant, which is really just not the place to do it.
Yeah.
We're trying to eat, and there are certain behaviors that everyone should abide by in a restaurant, and probably boob sucking should be one of those things that is not appropriate. That said, I wouldn't say like anywhere in public. Like I would say that if it's okay for a guy to have his shirt off, then it's also okay for a woman to breastfeed her baby. Like in a park,
Yes.
you're walking around with your shirt off. I think a woman should be able to whip her boob out and feed her baby in a park. I'm not trying to eat at a restaurant there, and if she's not trying to be like really in your face about it, like if she's just like, if you pretty much have to stare at her to see it, then.
No, Dale, I totally agree with you. And this was one of the questions that was posed to me in this thread was like, well, I want to know what's Derek's standard. Does he have a different standard for location? Like if it's a woman in a park? And that really got my gears turning. Like, yeah, if it was some woman in a park, I can easily walk away. I don't need to be in that park. It's not the same thing as being confined.
Would have to be staring at it, to see it.
Right. In a restaurant, you're seated. You would have to pretty much change where you're seated in order to not see someone who's breastfeeding in your field of vision. And,
here's the other thing. A lot of women, and they do this. I think I kind of appreciate this, and I think it makes it much more okay. Is they have just like a napkin or a shawl or something that just kind of covers it, so that you're not like watching the actual boob suckage happening while you're eating, and they can feed their baby right there, and in a way that's not really distasteful to other people. And I think that's fine. Like to me, that should be an okay thing, even in a restaurant. But if you're out in a park, my thing is I don't think there should be a separate standard of nudity for men and women. And the whole thing about how breasts are somehow sexual, but pectoral muscles aren't. I'm sorry, but pectoral muscles are much more sexual to me as a gay man.
Right. Yeah.
Boobs do nothing for me. And it's totally just a straight man standard to say that boobs are sexual, but pectoral muscles aren't. That's just a myopic notion that's a myopic view of the world. And the fact is there should be the same standard for women as men for nudity, and being topless, whether you're a man or a woman, shouldn't matter. And given that, if you're in a situation where being topless is okay, like if you're jogging through the park or jogging down the beach and people jog with their shirt off, that's fine. Then you should be able to whip your boob out and feed your baby.
I agree with you, Dale. I think we've solved this problem for the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm saying whip your boob out,
I
which
think-
makes it very like.
Yeah, no,
That makes it very edgy sounding when it really isn't.
yeah. I actually really like breasts to be, well, sorry, my head's somewhere else right now. I actually really think that.
Lauren's a lesbian, by
Okay,
the way.
so breastfeeding is actually really beautiful and natural, and I think it's nice. And if I experienced that or saw that, I'd be like, oh, okay, that's cool, that's great, wonderful. So I would have the actual opposite of you, Derek, but I still support what you feel and think. And
Thank you for validating my feelings.
but yeah, I think you and I are on opposite feelings, but we're totally together as far as
Yeah, it would be like, okay, if some guy started sucking dick at the dinner table, I might be okay with that. But also, I recognize that this is not the time and place for that.
And then someone
Right.
else is going to be bothered by it, and you respect that they have the.
Have
Yeah.
some manners. It's about making other people feel comfortable. We're coming back.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Etiquette, manners. Whipping your boob out at a restaurant. Does it apply? I don't know.
I kind of feel like we've hashed it out pretty good, and we're in.
Right. We decided it doesn't. So don't call
Or has something else that they want to add to it, they can always call in at flaming.freedom on Skype. That's our handle, flaming.freedom. Right?
Yeah, that's our handle, flaming.freedom. Hey, and if you wanted to go in a different direction, that's cool. I got something on why libertarian defenses of the Confederacy and states' rights are incoherent and why that article is bullshit.
Well, it's based on a minarchist view, first of all.
Right in the title, right?
Because you absolutely believe in secession for anyone, anytime, anywhere,
secession for individuals too. That is.
all the way down to the individual. I call it recursive secession. As an anarchist, I believe in recursive secession, meaning that I think the state should be able to secede from the nation. I think the city should be able to secede from the state. I think the district should be able to secede from the city, and the person should be able to secede from the district. Like it's recursive secession. Just keep going. Just keep going until we actually have actual freedom.
Absolutely. That's how I feel too. And that's why this article is bullshit. And I did read some of it. I didn't have to read the whole thing to recognize that this author doesn't agree with a person's right to secede, which I just feel is like a natural, innate right. If you have the freedom to union, to join with someone, then you have the freedom to disjoin from that person or secede from that union. Like there's no two ifs, ands, or buts about it. Otherwise, it's just not consensual. You could just say, well, it's okay to have non-consent be a standard that you would hold, but I don't agree with that. I think all relationships should be consensual, and that includes relationships with government.
Sorry, I think
Yes.
I think we cut out on Google
Just for a
Hangouts.
moment. It's cool.
You had
Yes.
something to add, Lauren?
You had an opinion?
Oh no, I never do. No, sorry, we really thought we lost you there for a second. Yeah, I mean, why even? So I actually back at what was it, convention or one of the conventions, they were talking about secession, and then I turned to the person next to me, or later on we were walking away, and I said, I really don't think I'm a secessionist. I'm just not for it.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Why? Oh, you're muted right now. So
No, she's not.
He
She's
was
not me.
it says
No.
on the screen.
Well,
Oh,
and
it's so tricky. This
that's Google
thing.
Hangouts is just flaking out.
Anyway,
This is why we get people get onto us for using Google Hangouts for podcasts, but
They probably
that's
should
here.
get onto us about that. That's fair. But regardless, I saw a mute icon on the screen.
just Google Hangouts wouldn't get in the
Okay,
audio.
no. I saw the icon and I wasn't hearing her. That means she's
a lie.
So-
it was lying to you.
anyway, the rest of my story goes that they were really shocked that I said I wasn't a secessionist, but then what I meant was like I believe in my own ability to secede, and it's kind of strange like that people would, and you're
Oh my God, this is unbearable. Dale, I don't know what's happening, but muting is happening.
why
Man.
am I like a
Is someone hitting a keyboard? Is someone clicking stuff on a mouse?
I'm hearing
my
pings
hands.
and things. I think it's on your
Yeah, it's
side
like it's
because
like
you don't
a-
have your sounds turned off. I think there's some pings.
It sounds
and
like you're
things.
eating dinner or breastfeeding. I'm not sure.
I think whenever there's a text in the chat room or something, there's like a sound effect, and it's
No,
everything else. No,
no, I'm getting no sounds. I have the mixer. I'm the one with the mixer over here that's going out to LRN. There's no dings happening,
And with the
on
mix.
your end. If at all. They're imaginary dings. Anyway, Lauren, what were you saying? I'm sorry. This is so convoluted.
I think I said it actually.
All right. Well,
Might not
I want to read to you from the first
Please.
paragraph of this article because it made my blood boil just starting this off. So this was sent to me by a friend who is like a gay anarchist. I've mentioned him before. He's the hot monarchist. Remember the hot monarchist? I don't know if you remember, but
Yeah.
his-
you remember you having a
Monarchist.
date with someone like that, and then he was a black guy, right?
he
He was
is
into monarchy.
He is into monarchy. Yes, he is a monarchist. He supports the, I think, constitutional monarchy, as he put it, and he thinks there would be more freedom in a world with constitutional monarchy. Anyway,
cool.
I think it's cool that he has like alternative views of politics. Like that takes some courage, and even if he's wrong. So here he says this from this article: there's a strain of libertarian contrarianism that holds that the Confederate States of America were within their, quote, rights to secede from the Union. Such contrarian, I mean, already the first sentence is so loaded with language that makes me furious. Libertarian contrarianism. They're not real libertarians like me. This author is trying to frame it this way. And he's putting rights in quotes. Like people don't have a right to secede. Like that's just some made up argument. It's not legitimate. Some bullshit literary tricks. And then he says, such contrarianism on this particular topic is detrimental to the larger cause of liberty. That should sound familiar to you, right, Dale? It's they're ruining the movement.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Such contrarianism on this particular topic is detrimental to the larger cause of liberty because the logic of this argument relies upon relinquishing individual rights to the whim of the state. Yeah, you heard that right. This guy, in his second sentence of this essay,
It's basically saying your federal given rights are better than your state given rights, and we are saying that you have rights regardless of the state or the federal government. Right?
Right, yes, he says, indeed, this is the conclusion thesis sentence. Indeed, as there is no legal or moral justification for supporting the Confederacy in the Civil War, it is impossible that there could be a libertarian one. And that's bullshit, because there is moral justification for supporting the Confederacy, and I already gave it. It's the fact that individuals have rights. Individuals have rights to join, to associate, freedom of association, and the flip side of that coin of freedom of association is freedom of disassociation when you no longer want to be associated with somebody. That's secession. If an individual has that right, then how could they lose it when they join in with a state unless that state is illegitimate and non-consensual? That's my point.
Right. And I think it's a good point. I will say this. I think it's interesting. A lot of these arguments hinge on when we say we have rights, it's kind of it's almost a religious statement, right? Because we'll say, for instance, we have God-given rights, or it started that way, or that we just somehow have inherent rights. It still kind of comes down to what seems sort of a religious thing. I think if we start off a discussion, really honestly, we have to start with the understanding that rights are an abstraction that humans created, and it's a good one. Like language is an abstraction, but it's very useful. And talking about rights is also it's a very useful invention, but it is something we invented. So what it is it's one of those things we can talk about endlessly. It's not an objective thing. It's and this is not saying it's not saying like what is the word that I'm trying to avoid or trying to. I'm not saying that it's relative necessarily. I'm saying it's not objective. Like objective would be a physical object. This is an abstraction that we came up with, and it's a useful abstraction, right?
Yes.
So that's how we're going to have arguments about whether we have a right to do something or not. To me, I think, for instance, here's the thing that I think is you can make certain discussions objective, right? You can say for instance, my notion of property rights derives from my objection to slavery. Now, whether slavery is right or wrong it seems obviously wrong to me. But I mean, if we try to have a really super rational argument about it, I can't necessarily say, well, yes, objectively slavery is wrong. It seems really bad. But I can say, for instance, if you do accept that slavery is wrong, and most people do, then you should also accept property rights, because stealing from someone is retroactively enslaving them. So do you object to slavery? And if you get a yes from that, then we can move on and say, okay, then you should support property rights. Right? The notion of property rights is something you should accept if you reject slavery. If you don't reject slavery, because these are mutually exclusive
property. You don't own the property that you claim to own. The government does. The government owns everything.
Well, if I did some work, if I do some work, for instance, to pick some berries, and I picked those berries for the purpose of feeding my family, let's say, or just to eat myself. I'm hungry and I picked some berries. If you steal those berries from me, you retroactively enslave me for the work I did to pick the berries. So you can't be both anti-slavery and anti-property rights.
What if you didn't
mind.
do any work to get those berries? What if they were just there?
That's the labor theory of value. Work is not important. It's the value
it'd be hard. I think you'd have a tough call on trying to make a claim on the property, on owning the berries. Then you just happen to be right there for you. I mean, you know, it'd be a little bit. I wouldn't feel as bad about somebody taking berries that you didn't actually work to get. Right? I wouldn't feel as bad about that.
Right.
It's all subjective.
Anyway, this article is a disgrace to libertarianism.org. If people think that this is true libertarianism, they are sorely mistaken, and they should instead tune into Flaming Freedom, where you get the real truth. And the talk about shitting and feeding babies at tables with your boobs. Be right back.
Hi, I'm Derek J.
Hi, Derek.
So he probably doesn't want us to talk over his commercial.
Oh,
yeah, everybody shut up. This is a good one.
One group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict.
No, I'm just kidding.
dance.
All right. So
lit.
folks should definitely go listening to the Victimless Crime Spree commercial if they haven't already. But meanwhile, so there's actually quite a lot of topics mentioned. Jaden Smith, who is, by the way, a beautiful, beautiful man.
He
is really fleshing out.
Dress recently, right?
He wore a dress, and he said, "My clothes aren't girl clothes; they're just clothes."
Yeah. Who's the comedian that said that?
Yeah. I forget his name, but I'm thinking of him. I'm picturing his face.
I know. I can see him.
Eddie is.
But that's true.
Eddie,
that's the thing. I mean, am I wearing girl clothes? No, I'm not. I'm wearing my
Eddie
clothes.
Izzard.
Eddie Izzard. It was Eddie Izzard. Yeah.
Yes. Can you guys not hear me?
Well, Hangouts.
Been some really strange moments.
Hangouts cuts out people when someone else is talking in order to. We can't all talk at the same time and hear each other.
It's funky.
Well, then we got to jump on Fiend Phone. We got to get Fiend Phone.
Or even Skype.
We've mentioned it before. I'm with you.
I know, but one thing is we can't get Fiend Phone and broadcast video at the same time. We'd have to turn into an audio-only podcast, which is cool and do that. But it's like
I'm not a fan of that. I like being on YouTube.
I like being on YouTube too. I like having video that goes with our show. We just have
I mean, the thing is, we could have video but like one side or the other. It would be either you or either me. I mean, we can. Yeah, we would be able to. I don't know.
Yeah.
We could record the video and post it, but it would just be after the fact, right?
Yeah.
Live broadcast of it.
Yep. There are other ways to do live broadcasts, but I don't know if they can be recorded, and I don't know how it all works.
So I've got the Jaden Smith story. I've got Madison, Wisconsin protects atheists with a new law.
Cool.
And the funny thing about that one, I think, is that I think that's the one where Christians were complaining. Like they were saying basically that the law violates Christians' rights to discriminate against atheists, which I would approve of that. I would approve of Christians being able to discriminate against atheists, as long as we can also discriminate against Christians. But they don't want that, right? They want to be a protected class, but they don't want atheists to be.
Yeah.
Right. It's a double standard. So there's that. That's another thing we can possibly discuss. Once again, Christians they're victims because they're not being allowed to oppress other people. Therefore they're victimized.
I want to get a Christian on this show, like one who's just totally awesome and can just counter all of your arguments, because I can't do it. Like,
Well,
'cause
I don't
have to like
know.
pretend.
Wait, how do you? Yeah.
And so,
Well,
like,
unfortunately, the Christians that I know agree with me
Yeah,
because they're
that's the thing.
libertarian Christians.
right? Like that, all the Christians
So-
I know are cool.
Yeah, they agree with me.
Yeah.
They support the idea of ending discrimination laws for everybody and not having protected classes for anyone.
Yeah.
And they don't want to have the
So,
right to discriminate.
I'm gonna actually jet out for a second, guys, but I'll be back for the start of the segment.
Okay.
And I had some TSA stuff, but I really don't want to talk about it after all. So I'm down with what we're discussing.
I still get comments almost every day, Lauren, about how awesome it was for you to share your story about the TSA. So, if that,
Yeah, I didn't really share it all completely or too well, but I'm glad. That's nice that people are mentioning that.
yeah, all the time.
Thanks, Derek.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Hey, Dale.
Yes,
I
sir.
also want to talk about tomorrow. I'm going to court to record Joe Jarvis, one of the gay anarchists, has a speeding ticket in Keene.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
That sounds that's like more directly relevant, I'd say. Let's maybe get that first, and then these other topics we can get to if we want to.
Yeah, because it's for the gay anarchists, and then I can plug the page.
And then once again, here's another Christian oppressed because they wanted to, because they called a bakery, and they asked the bakery to print a message that said we're against gay marriage, and the bakery said they wouldn't do it. And he goes, "Look, this is real oppression." And this is another one of those situations where I feel like the conversation can get short circuited by being an anarchist, because I feel like any bakery should be able to say yes or no to any message.
Yeah.
Right. But what this person is failing to again, in the context of a world where there are discrimination laws and where they're trying to put laws against certain kinds of intolerance and so forth. In that context, he's failing to make the distinction between a bakery saying promoting intolerance and a bakery rejecting intolerance. Right. He fails to see that distinction. So he thinks he's being discriminated against. I don't know if he's, he's trying to put a message of intolerance on a cake. And this other bakery, the Christian one, was just saying, we're not going to do a cake for someone who's having a gay wedding. All right. It's like if the case, imagine if the bakery said, we're against interracial marriage. Imagine someone wanted a cake that said, we're against interracial marriage. And the bakery was like, no, we're not going to make a racist cake. Right. Versus a bakery saying, we're not going to make a cake for an interracial marriage. Like, one of them is an intolerant position and one of them is a tolerant position. They're not equal and opposite is the thing.
I agree with that. Do you want to make that point when we come back?
At some point, maybe. It depends on, whatever you want to prioritize is fine. Just throwing some topics out for you.
Someone.
I would like to share some comments that we've gotten.
Okay.
My listeners. Let's see. We got a comment on our Satan episode that I would like to help. I would like help from listeners to decipher. So this is a comment on our Satan episode. I don't think you were on that one. This was back on the old show.
Yeah.
But those shows are still on YouTube that people can still go see them. We got a comment on there that I would like to share. And then I just got a comment emailed to me just today about something that we posted. So I would like to share that too.
Okay.
Yep. In the meantime, how are folks doing out there in the chat room and such?
I'm good. I'm chatting with some of the chat room people. There's this guy, Melted Snow, in the chat room who's telling me about Jitsi. And I've used Jitsi before for as a Skype program. The only problem is Jitsi is a little chintzy and it doesn't really work very well. It was like really crap when I used it, but that was like a year and a half ago. So maybe it's better. He's saying that it has the ability to live stream in HD audio and video, which would be good. And then, but I like what Free Talk Live does, which is they have a live stream player embedded into their website. So just the same as people do now, they can watch live on our page. And also they save the video. It can be archived. and upload it to YouTube. So they just upload it after each night to their YouTube page. We could do that. It wouldn't be live to YouTube. It would just be on YouTube after the show.
Okay.
And it would be higher quality.
Right.
Okay.
My biggest concern is having the video available to put up on YouTube for cross promotion. I think there's potential.
Dale, you're interrupting the show. We're doing a show here.
No,
It's actually become kind of fashionable to talk during the liners. Have you been hearing Freedom Fiends? Michael Dean does it all the time.
No, what does he do?
He'll just be talking like to his co-host throughout the break, and then when the show comes back, they don't even take a pause to be like, "Hey, we're back. This is the flaming, this is Freedom Fiends, and we're doing a show." It's just like we're just gonna keep talking and try and keep up. So yeah, I've got news. I'm going to court tomorrow for a speeding ticket.
Oh, you? I thought it was someone else.
No, it is for someone else. It's for Joe Jarvis. He's one of the gay anarchists, which, by the way, plug for the gay anarchists group right now. If you are queer and an anarchist, you should join the gay anarchists group. Right now, it's called Gay Anarchists for Bigot Pizza, but that changes from day to day. And the important thing is that the word gay anarchists is in the title. We have a few other members. I guess we're at 23 now, which is pretty small, but it's cozy. We want a community of people who are really anarchists. And I think there's already been one person who bounced, who was upset. So we had a little drama. It's becoming like a real group. So go ahead and join us. We don't have a stringent screening process, so we won't check your genitals or make you make out in front of us just to prove it. But anyway, Joe Jarvis, he's one of these gay anarchists. He's written blogs at Joe Jarvis Explains It All and vigilantvote.com. And he also is writing a book right now, a fictional book that's being published by fpp.cc, Free Press Publications. Anyway, tomorrow he's got a speeding ticket trial that's going to be just an arraignment, I think. And a few of the gay anarchists are going to attend and video record. I just want to lend some moral support and see if I can be helpful at all. I recommended that he challenge jurisdiction just because what the hell? Why not? You've got this opportunity. Why not use it for milk it for everything it's worth? You could just go and pay the fine if you wanted this to just go away. But if you're going to challenge it, you might as well throw up every objection you possibly can. Am I right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And what time is he? What time is the trial?
8:29 a.m.
Oh.
Which is one of the weird things they do here in court, which is they schedule you for a minute before court opens. I guess, I don't know if it's a computer thing, like a glitch, or if they do that on purpose to make sure you're there on time. But yeah, it's really weird. They normally don't even get to you until like 10 o'clock, especially if they know that you're going to challenge them. Mm-hmm. So they clear out the rest of the room. In fact, I did this today. I had three parking tickets that I took to trial today. And I was there at 10 o'clock as my about 50 other people. Hello? The court got through all of them and then took a recess when I was the last person in the room. Like, we're just going to take a break now. We'll see you later.
That sounds like a fuck you, basically.
It was totally a fuck you.
Yeah.
They know who I am. They know what I'm about to do. And they're like, let's clear out the whole room, make Derek wait, and then we'll take a recess.
They don't want you to make it because you're going to make a statement in front of lots of people that might make an impression on them, and they really don't want. They don't want to give you that opportunity.
Right. They do not want that to happen. Only the people on film, the people who are watching the video, would be able to see the statement that I'm making. So anyway, I don't think it was what they were expecting, but the bullshit artists at this courtroom. So during my trial, first of all, it's parking tickets, right? And there are 3 of them. So there are only 2 parking enforcers in all of Keene, New Hampshire. So both of them are there at the courthouse, which means free parking all around Keene. I'm sure it was pandemonium. There must have been anarchy in the streets. No one could park anywhere because the parking enforcers weren't there. So anyway, they were both in the courtroom tied up for this trial for about, as long as I was, 3 hours or so. When I walk out to my car, after the trial, I'm found guilty on all 3, by the way. After the trial, I walk out. There's another ticket on my car. Who did it? The bullshit person who was just on the stand who knew I was in court took the opportunity to run over to my car and give me a ticket just minutes before I was let out of court. Is that bullshit or what?
Wow. That's awful.
It's another fuck you. The whole system was like, fuck you today.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like business as usual, but yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's what happens the moment you stand up. It's like they're just ready to kill you.
I feel like it was kind of worth it. So here's why. It cost me $15. I was found guilty. It cost me maybe 3 hours of my time. So you factor in maybe $30 worth of work time that I might have been able to make otherwise. And so there's opportunity cost there as well. But I get a little bit of experience, I get video, and I get a show. The way I started thinking about it is I'm not even going to participate. Like, that's too much work. I could say, objection, they should rely on their memory and not read from notes. And objection, you're leading the witness. I could have played these games and participated. But I decided I'm going to kick my feet up, fold my arms, and just sit back and enjoy whatever railroading they're going to give me. They're going to find me guilty whether or not I make objections. So why don't I just sit back and enjoy the show, see what happens? And the prosecutor had to do his job of asking all these simple questions. Did you write out this ticket? Where was this car parked? Who is this registered to? Can you read this number? And all of the little rigmarole of, yes, we own you and we control where you get to park. And if you follow our rules and if you break them, here's the fine and all the things. It was just, I'm not going to put up any objection. It was just very interesting to watch. I've never seen anyone just take it. And until I was inspired by one other person in Keene who took the same strategy. But anyway, I just wanted to throw it out there. It's not that scary. Take your parking tickets to court. What have you got to lose? A little bit of money, a little bit of time, and you gain a lot of experience. It can be fun. It can be a great learning experience. Like, I'll never just pay the parking ticket. I'm gonna lose. Here in New Hampshire, there's no cost to take something to court. It's free.
So another great experience with, are you still there, by the way?
I'm here.
Another great experience. Yeah, it's you have to fix it yourself. I'm sorry, Dale.
No,
fix it yourself. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Another great experience at court is also meeting people there and actually kind of reaching out to them and meeting all these strangers who you would never have known otherwise. Because you can kind of sympathize with them. And you can trauma bond with them, if you will, over this experience. That's what I enjoyed most about going to court.
Yeah, I don't know.
Technical difficulties on this end, by the way.
It sucks, like trauma bonding, though. I don't want to meet people in that circumstance. It is hard. Like, I don't take the plea deal outreach where I hand out literature in front of the courthouse while people are walking in for their arraignments and their trials, and I encourage them to not take the plea deal that they'll presumably be offered by the prosecutor. This is the way like 95% of trials are resolved. They don't even go to trial. And before you get there, the prosecutor will make some deal and say, hey, Lauren, you're looking at 10 years in prison and some felony charges. This could be pretty serious and mess up your record for life. Would you say you plead guilty to this? We'll drop it to a misdemeanor level. We'll give you 30 days suspended in jail and we'll call it a day. And you say, well, wow, 10 years versus 30 days and no jail time. That sounds pretty good. Yeah, I'll take a misdemeanor and plead guilty. Well, they've just gotten you to accept guilt on something that they would need to perform a whole trial, call witnesses, schedule a hearing, get the court recorder, file paperwork. They would have to do all kinds of work in order to get this prosecution, in order to get this conviction. And you're just giving it to them by giving them the plea deal agreement. So I encourage people not to take the plea deal, or if you're going to, draw it out as long as possible. That plea deal is usually good up until the day of trial. So 5 minutes before trial starts, you want to accept that plea deal, go ahead. It's only going to get sweeter over time because the prosecutor wants you to take it. They don't want to go to court. They want to avoid that. So that's my advice for Joe Jarvis. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. It's going to be an arraignment. I'm hoping that he challenges jurisdiction and just basically says, like, what laws, or excuse me, what facts are within your possession that indicate your laws and codes apply to me? I want to know that. That's challenging jurisdiction. You don't have power over me, judge. You don't own me. Your laws don't apply to me. I understand you're making the legal argument that your laws and codes do apply to me, but I want facts. I'm asking for evidence. Where are your facts that these laws and codes apply to me? And he doesn't have any. All he has are threats. We'll find that out tomorrow and hopefully get some good video here in Keene, New Hampshire, Liberty Media, capital of the world. We'll return with more Flaming Freedom after this message from the free market.
LRN.FM needs you.
Hey, you guys lost? You got no sound, or what's going on?
Oh,
No, we do.
You had a nice rant going. I didn't want to
Yeah,
interrupt you.
I was only ranting because I felt like I thought like I was perceiving silence.
You were on a roll, dude. I didn't want to.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want to mess with your style there. You had it going.
I don't like to rant generally. I like to, a little more back and forth. So I only do
Back
that.
and forth is great, but sometimes someone's got a good rant going, and you let them go because they're on it. You know what I'm saying?
All right, fair enough. That's cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Like I didn't want to break your stride.
That's cool. Should we talk about Star Wars BDSM toys from a kinky galaxy far, far away? Or you got more?
I've got the
Wait,
yeah, I'm
you
fine
didn't
with
mention
that.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say that I got the chat room going on like the objectivity of rights or the whether they objectively exist or not and all this stuff. And they're
Really?
calling me a relativist and everything, and I'm like, well, what is a relativist? Because I just explained that I think some things are objective, like you can't be both. You can't be, for instance, you can't be up and down. At the same time. What?
Clear your throat. I can't listen to that. There you go.
Sorry, asthma. Asthma sucks.
I don't mind. I want to hear clear as a bell.
I hear you. So you can't be up and down. You can't be right and left at the same time. That's a paradox.
Yes.
That's why, like, I gave an example of what I think is a paradox. For instance, saying that you don't, you could say you don't believe in property rights, and then I would say, well, then you support slavery.
Right.
On some level, we can always argue about the details of property rights and whether or not what something constitutes property. But the basic notion that you worked on something and you now own the results of that work is basically an objection to slavery. Now, you can say, I think slavery is fine, and then we can argue about that endlessly because I just don't think you should. I think it seems bad, but I'd have a hard time objectively arguing that that slavery is wrong, because right and wrong are human concepts as well, right? Rights are based on the notions of right and wrong. So anyway, it's but the idea that rights are some objective thing is, I think, ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree.
Into kind of a religious notion there when you go down that route.
Yep.
I think God exists. I don't.
Hey, I'll be right back. I gotta get some water.
Okay.
Bye, ladies.
Oh, I could use something to drink too, but do I have time?
Yeah, I just
Can you entertain while
purchase this Adirondack seltzer? Yeah, I can. I'm curious what's going on in the chat here.
Go in the chat and entertain people while I run and get something to drink.
All right, cool. Guys, you leave me all here just by myself.
You got this.
I don't know.
On top of it.
All right, well, I'm actually gonna make a little boozy noise here in a minute. Oh yeah. So I'm drinking here, for those of you who are watching the cameras, from the Puke in the Gang glass here. Of course, I don't know if it's actually on me or if it's on someone else. And because I totally can't see, but I'm just gonna hold it up. It says Puke in the Gang. It's the greatest tragedy of all time. And I'm drinking a, what am I drinking? Oh yes. That is a Jameson. Oh, no. That's, no, I'm sorry. Wait, that's, hold on. Okay, it's Jim Beam. Jim Beam with lime, and then some seltzer mixed in as well. Very delicious. I don't actually have, oh, hey, you're there. You're back.
Yeah.
So who's on the camera too? Like when I talk, do I show up?
Yeah.
Okay, so they were seeing that. All right, cool.
Back in 3 seconds.
Creative comment. You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Welcome back, anarchists.
Howdy.
Jesus Christ, I just lost my microphone.
Yeah, what was that? Oh my goodness.
I don't know. Look,
I can't see you. I can't see you at all. So I'm only just hearing all of these sounds. But
All right.
I hope you're okay. And
Yeah, I'm okay. Let me fix this.
over here, I suppose, for now.
Go on with the show for us, will you?
I'll see what I can do. Yeah, so we were talking about all sorts of things, property rights, and I hope you have do you have your mic muted too? Just if you can still hear me, please mute your mic. But yeah, so we're here just doing the Flame and Freedom thing. It's completely silent in my ears right now, so this is totally weird for me. But yeah, we're drinking, and I really miss you guys. What happened here?
Well, you asked me to mute my microphone, so I did that while I'm fixing this. But I want to know what you think about my challenging jurisdiction idea. I mean, I've done it before in the same courtroom that Joe is going to be in, where I asked Judge Burke, who he's probably going to be facing. I was like, hey, who do you represent? In first of all, my first question to this guy, because I try and trap the judges with questions where I'm not making arguments, I'm asking questions, and the judge's answers to those questions are what should indict him. And so I start off with, am I presumed innocent? Or am I entitled to a fair trial? That's the first question. And then, am I presumed innocent? He'll say yes to both, of course, because he's going to feel all good about himself. Yeah, I'm an adjudicator here, and you're entitled to a fair trial. And yes, of course, you're presumed innocent until proven guilty, and the government has the burden of proof, and they have to meet these elements of the crime, and yada, yada, yada. So then I say, would it be possible for me to get a fair trial if there were a conflict of interest?
And then he'll say, well, what conflict of interest are you talking about? And you'll say that the prosecutor...
he should say, no, it's not possible for you to trial if there's a conflict of interest. He said yes, because he saw where this was going. He knew my arguments ahead of time. He knew that I was going to say that you, judge, and you, prosecutor, both get paid by the state, both work for the same team, and therefore there's a conflict of interest. So I said, who do you represent? He said, I don't represent anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Which is not true, because his paycheck says state of New Hampshire, same as a prosecutor. So that's a lie. But of course, he's not penalized for lying in court. And then he just dismisses this argument, basically like saying, I don't care. We're going to go on with the trial. This Jedi mind trick has no power on me. I'm not affected. So I don't know whether or not it's going to be helpful to Joe. It's at least good video to get the judge to admit this, or to answer some of these basic questions about fairness in the courtroom. But
I think it would be interesting to try this strategy somewhere else in the world. I know that everyone wants to concentrate all of their activism and ideas on New Hampshire, which is totally awesome. But I don't know if there are maybe there's other jurisdictions outside of Keene that would be more, where this would be more successful. Although, like, who's willing to actually go through and purposefully get a parking ticket? That doesn't seem very wise. No one would do that. But I'm glad you're talking about this kind of thing, because it would be really great if other people were trying it elsewhere. And I'm hearing silence.
Frank, sorry, I'm still trying to fix my mic over here. So vamp if you would, but the people shouldn't try this elsewhere. That's stupid. People should just move to New Hampshire and join where other activists are already doing this sort of thing.
I suppose. Because what could happen is that somebody could sacrifice themselves and then get thrown in jail, and then that's horrible. Yeah, so we don't want that to happen.
Yeah, not only that, it costs money to challenge tickets in other places. You're probably going to lose. You're going to be embarrassed. You're going to have no support in the courtroom. You're not going to get video of it, because in most courtrooms you can't record. And then the fine is going to be much higher than $5, which is all it is here in Keene. So, get your ass over to New Hampshire if you're willing to do some activism. Otherwise, keep your head down.
Yeah, I was also kind of suggesting that another part of New Hampshire, other than Keene, would be a good idea.
There are other parts of New Hampshire?
There are, yes. And
where most of the activists
I heard you were going to try to go to those other parts, but then you weren't here, and I was so sad when I didn't see you.
He does anything in those other places, like Manchester, where Shire and Rob Mathias are the only two activists who actually.
Why are we being divisive? Why are we starting a battle between like, oh, Keene is so much better than those other places? And how do you expect that to result? Like, what do you expect us to do in response
clearly we
to
need
that?
another dance off.
I don't want to sit here and try to convince you that like Manchester is better than Keene or something. It gets kind of silly.
We've already settled it with the dance off, okay?
But to say they're not doing activism that you like, and so you're saying Keene's better. No, it's better for you because that's your preference and for the kind of activism you want to do.
Yeah.
And then there's other kinds of activism happening that you may not prefer.
Like what?
Let the market figure out what's working or
like
not. and what
breastfeeding
people
in
wanna
public.
do.
You might not prefer that.
All I want to do, I'm not complaining. I'm just congratulating Shire Dude and Rob Mathias for being the only two activists that I've seen put some events together. Maybe I'm missing some of the events, but I thought it was pretty cool. They made a pub crawl happen.
Oh, no, I understand. I've been where you are, where you don't want to do political activism, but there's political activism happening. There's education happening. I think Matt Simon is doing amazing stuff as far as educating people about marijuana issues, and especially educating the House and the Senate and the public in general, because they're influenced by the public, right? So he's doing an excellent job of that. He's put out some great articles recently that have gotten great coverage in New Hampshire news outlets.
Who is this person? What articles does he put out? I'm not doubting you. I've never heard of him.
Matt Simon is?
No.
Matt Simon is like one of the hardest working activists in New Hampshire, and he's doing some great stuff.
Working towards the decriminalization of
he's focused
marijuana
on marijuana issues, and he's trying to get legislation passed and stuff like that for these issues.
Well, there's going to be a 420 rally happening in Concord, New Hampshire, this 420 at 420, and that I think does more for freeing the herb than any attempt at legislation could ever do. New Hampshire is so far behind the rest of New England with regards to marijuana decriminalization. Is not going to happen through the legislative process. I'm sorry, especially not without activism like the 420 rally.
Whoa. Did you just say that marijuana decriminalization is not going to happen through the legislative process? How else is that going to happen?
It could happen if there's
not without the activism of people openly smoking cannabis. That's what I'm saying.
Not without what?
Not without the activism of people openly smoking cannabis. That's what I'm saying.
That's an opinion. It's fine, but you're going to have a really hard time just sort of objectively arguing that. I disagree. I think what Matt's done is doing a lot. I think Matt's doing is going a lot farther, but that's my opinion. I'm not going to poo-poo on other people's notions of activism because it's a little different than what I think is necessarily the most effective. I don't think we need to be so divisive about such things.
Who's we? We are not being divisive. Are you calling me being divisive?
You said nothing's happening except in Keene. You're being very judgmental. There's tons of stuff happening. You just don't prefer it or don't pay attention to it.
Yeah, I guess not.
There was some really good article. Like Matt Simon put out a really good article recently that made it to the
articles are not a reason to move to Manchester.
Okay, that's your opinion. I'm sorry, but I think
really good articles come out of here. You know, if that were the case, I should move to New York City.
He's been trying.
Anyway,
we're about to run out of time. We'll continue when we come back, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that he's doing actual work that doesn't have like an immediate payoff, like getting high right at that moment. But he's doing like really hard work that's not like immediately satisfying and attention getting or whatever it is. And you know, but to say that like there's nothing happening, you're just not paying attention.
I am open to that. I am open to being
in legislation that will actually at some point hopefully get passed that will improve marijuana laws in New Hampshire. Some of it's there's already progress been made in in medical marijuana, which is a step, and then more is on the way. But it takes hard work for all that to happen. It's great that there are people smoking pot in public, but there's also hard work that has to happen. And I think it just seems unfair to just be so dismissive about people who have a different idea of what's effective than you.
Yeah, there's only living free or begging to be free. That's how I see it. Hey, we got Joe Jarvis on the line. You don't need to share video, Joe, unless you want to be on video. You can join us via Google Hangouts if you want.
Sorry, let me turn this off here. I think I have a time delay or something.
That is the case. So you definitely do not want to have the broadcast open while you are connected to with us. We're on a break at
Yeah,
the moment, so it's okay. Get connected or whatever you got to do.
All right.
Did you
Yeah,
want
the
to?
video was on before. I don't mind it being on if you want it to be on.
If you would like to join us via video over Skype, which you are connected to me now, just send the email address that you would like to be invited to the Google Hangout. Don't say it because that will go out over the air.
Right.
Just,
Okay.
just message it.
Should we be doing this on air, or should we figure this out in a different setting?
I don't care. You just send me your email address.
I don't know. I feel like I'm a little like behind the time. I feel like an old man sometimes when it comes to this stuff.
It's called electronic mail, and you send messages by typing them
But
on
can
the
I
computer.
do it while I'm on here? That's what it's amazing to me. You know?
I'm from the age of the dial phone, and I don't think it's that amazing. Right? We had to dial the phone when I was a little kid.
Yeah, I had a rotary phone.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess it's not as old as I thought. I thought it was an older thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I had it as a kid too. In
When
fact,
we
as
got-
a kid, when I had one of the ones where you'd have to hold it up to your ear
Whatever.
and then talk into the mic. Yeah.
That was just a style thing. They had them as like, oh, this is a cute little old timey
Yeah,
phone.
it was a cute thing.
Yeah. Right. I'm gonna compare Derek to a feminist when we come back.
Oh no! Don't do that. No.
I'm okay with it. I can take
Activism based on the feels. The feels.
not based
Not
on
based on objective data.
No, there is no objective data. There's no.
stop trying to send video. Decline. No.
What's going on with the Skype thing? What's
I
happening?
don't know. I'm gonna disconnect from Joe. I'm gonna tell him just
All right.
just
Bye,
join
Joe.
the Hangouts. Oh, we're back in 30 seconds. We haven't done underwear yet. We're gonna do that.
Oh.
You want to do that next? I've got the music. I keep missing my opportunity.
I don't know. Like,
Dale makes me mad.
are we all doing it? Is this a thing? How does this work?
No. You and
Not
me.
using divisive language.
Dale's not in it. He doesn't like it. He hates freedom.
You don't like the angle?
I hate freedom. I hate freedom because
Yeah,
I'm defending people like Matt
freedom.
Simon.
Oh, we're back.
FM.
Hey, this is the show that hates freedom. Welcome back to it.
Yeah. Screw
Yes.
it. Screw freedom.
Yep, we've all decided we are sadists now, and that's how it's going to be.
Well, I am kind of a
It was
sadist.
fun while it lasted.
If someone's into that, but only if they're into
Oh,
that.
sadist.
Yeah,
Sadist. I
sadist.
see what you did there.
Why? What did you? What would?
Nothing.
All right.
Nothing.
But anyway, no. I mean, I like you. Sorry, but you did say you were saying like, oh, you're either begging for freedom.
No. I want you to give it to me and give it to Ruff. But
It
first,
just sounds
I
like
want you to, no. But first, I want you to please reduce
Feminist
your
arguments.
gain. Please
What's
reduce your gain just slightly because you're peaking. And I
Oh,
want you to be able to be
okay.
loud and scream at me, but just reduce your gain a little bit so there's no peaking.
well, you're throwing out the this touchy feely thing about begging for freedom.
Yeah.
What was the alternative to begging? Like if
Well,
people do
that's-
politics, they're begging.
But that's kind of what it is, though. Like you're.
That's what it is.
Well, if you want to fight for freedom, whip out the guns. I'm with you. Go for it
No.
I'm not with
and
you.
start fighting for it.
I'm not with you.
I'm not for that.
No, I know what you're saying, but I'm just saying that like it's all touchy feely. It's all like, well, we're like it's all feels based. It's all like, oh, we smoked pot out in public and we asserted our freedom. And I'm like, but that's
That's acting free. That's living free.
yeah, until you get arrested. You know,
You don't get arrested at these rallies because there's so many people willing to do it openly. There was even a state rep who smoked.
Okay, so you got away with it that time, but like but to create a connection and say, well, because you did that, that's why the legislation passed, and that Matt working on.
He's not saying that. You're not saying that, Derek. You're just saying that you want to
he
live
just
freely.
called him a beggar. He just called like the guy who's working harder than
He
anyone
didn't
else
call
in New
Matt
Hampshire
Simon
a beggar.
Matt Simon's fantastic and lovely.
I didn't say anything bad or negative about Matt Simon, and I appreciate the work of those people. I just think it's hamster wheels. I think they're not going anywhere. You could beg legislators for more freedom. People have been doing that for thousands of years, and I don't see more freedom. Sorry, I see more freedom when people courageously assert their rights and
we have more freedom.
cannabis, openly live free, openly flaunt the laws that with which they disagree, like registration laws. Michelle 7 inspired me by driving around without registering her car, took it to trial, lost, was found guilty, did time in jail, and drove away in her unregistered car. Never once did she go to the state house and say, please, masters, would you get rid of this restriction for registration? Oh, big deal. It was one weekend.
The restriction gone now? People don't have to register their cars anymore? Like, I feel like she did something that made her feel good, but how was it activism? How did it change the situation?
She didn't have to register her car, Dale. It was her asserting her freedom and living free and
go to jail. Like, I'd rather pay $50, $200 than spend time in jail.
No big deal. It was one.
We're back to preference now.
No. So okay, if you're saying that, well, but she accomplished something by going to jail, and you say, well, she didn't have to pay, she didn't have to register her car. I'm like, okay, so I had to pay $200. She had to go to jail. We both had our freedom infringed upon, and hers in a worse way, in my opinion. Like, I'd rather pay $200 than go to jail. Personally, I feel more free if I lose $200 than if I lose however many days of my life in a jail cell.
All right. Well, I guess that's personal preference, because I won't bow to kiss the ring.
People still have to register their cars. She got away with it that time by going to jail instead of paying a $200 fine. But calling it activism is totally feels. It's totally, I feel free because I did this thing. Okay, it makes you feel good, but it's a stretch to call it activism unless you see something happen. And you can pin it to that.
I like actively feeling good. I'm totally okay with it.
I'm fine.
And I support it.
Too. I approve of her doing what she felt better about personally. Like, she didn't want to give him her money, and she felt like maybe she felt like she siphoned off the system because she went to jail. And if that made her feel better, then and whatever she wanted to do, I'm for that.
I don't know how to achieve cannabis freedom. I tried openly smoking cannabis in Keene Central Square. I was arrested. I served jail time for it. I think that has an impact on legislators when they see my movie, when they hear my story. I think people courageously violating the law and standing on their morality does a lot more than begging permission from any bureaucrat. That's just my view of it. And, feel free to disagree, but that's how I see it. And now I've slightly changed a bit in that I don't try and go and smoke pot out in the open. I smoke pot at home. I've got plenty of freedom here at home. I've used technology to live more free. I got myself a vaporizer so I can smoke that in the car if I want to. I can vape and not be hitting a bowl that's so obvious. So I've increased my freedom a little bit through technology, but I still haven't asked the legislators to give me my freedom. That's not
okay. The fact of the matter is, it's going to take time because this is a huge problem to solve. It's why we're congregating in New Hampshire. So and we're taking bites out of the elephant. It's the way I look at it. And one thing I really like that you're doing is you're saying, I think this is how I feel. It's just my point of view. And that's the thing. That's the thing. Like, we don't have to use divisive language because we disagree with someone and say, oh, you're begging for freedom. You're just begging for freedom. They're working their asses off. They're doing hard work.
That's the labor theory of value. People doing hard work doesn't make them valuable. Just because they're banging their heads against the wall in the legislature.
I just think there's more substance to that than smoking pot in public.
Well,
but
that is a hamster wheel. I have the exact opposite opinion of you.
I know. I've been where you are. I've been in your mindset. I understand. But I was also religious at that time. I was a Quaker.
Oh, okay.
I used to meditate, and I used to think that if I lived my life free, that it was going to change things.
In other words, you're like, I used to think like you back when I was wrong. Yeah, when I was wrong about everything, I thought like you. But now I'm so enlightened.
I'm not saying I'm smarter now. I could have been right then, and now I'm all fucked up in the head.
That is the case.
I don't know, but I'm saying, but we're both kind of running on feels, and that's what I'm saying. We don't have to use divisive language for people we disagree with. We don't. I don't know.
Fine.
Whatever.
Fine. My dollar going home.
Let's talk about gay stuff.
Yeah, should we try and get Joe Jarvis on? I can't get him on via video, which is a shame. But I'll call him.
Well, he was calling us by Skype, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was. But I was like, wait a minute. You could call us on Hangouts. And
right.
I tried to make it too complicated, and now he's like not on with us. So I'm like, well, That was stupid.
Whenever I try to use Hangouts, it crashes my computer and eats my hard drive. So maybe that's what happened to him.
Maybe. Hey, Joe, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you now.
Hey, welcome back. So I was talking about your trial tomorrow, or your arraignment, more properly.
Yeah, I was listening to that.
Yeah, what do you expect there?
I don't know. I like really had no idea what to expect. I figured I might as well just challenge it, like you were saying earlier, kind of just make them work for it, because I don't really want to give them $100.
It's 100. I thought it was like 220 something. Well, how much is
No,
this?
this is like no big deal.
No, $100 is kind of a big deal to me. I don't know about you, but I don't like to just give that.
No, it is, but like it's easy to make it not worth their time.
Yeah, that's a good point. So this is an arraignment. You'll probably get a trial date after this. So you've got 2 hearings. I don't know. It's probably wasting about $50 each, depending on how long the trial goes. Anyway, what are you hoping to get out of it? Did we lose?
Joe?
Not much, I hope. I hope you're not hoping to get much out of it, except for maybe some video. I just disconnected from Joe, so maybe you can call back or something. But yeah, you're not going to get anything out of the courtroom except for good video. That's one of the things that is cool about taking things to court in New Hampshire that I've experienced in other places. Sorry, I forgot to turn the sounds off. Is you can't film in most places. Like I know Joe's in Massachusetts. I don't know what the recording laws are like there in court, but in most places you can't record. Do you know if you can in Massachusetts, Joe?
You have to tell them that you're recording.
Okay.
Oh wait, sorry. I got disconnected for a second. We're still talking about court. I haven't been to court in Massachusetts in years, so I'm not sure.
All right. Do me a favor. Well, all right. Yeah, that's all right. Well, I'm glad you haven't been to court. It's good to avoid those people. I'll see you there tomorrow. I'll be recording. The Keene courthouse is familiar with me doing that, and I hope they don't make you wait forever.
Yeah.
I don't know. You'll probably be before the infamous Judge Burke. Are you nervous?
I mean, should I be? I didn't think it was.
No. I get nervous, though. I got nervous. I think today was the first time I was not nervous in court.
I think if you try not to, like, if you don't act cocky, if you just sort of assert sensible stuff, like Burke will probably.
Yeah, Burke has good respect for the activists who challenge tickets and stuff. Anyway, this is Flame Freedom. We'll be right back. Joe, could you do me a favor and turn off your video because it slows down your audio connection, and I can't share the video from Skype, unfortunately.
Okay.
And I just got a friend request from LRN.fm.
Oh, gotcha.
I wonder if our friend Ian will be calling in.
Which Ian? Ian Freeman or someone else?
Yes, Ian Freeman.
Okay.
The free man. Hey, I picked up John Bush today. That was pretty cool. John Bush is in New Hampshire.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, he's starting a Bitcoin bus tour.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got himself a Bitcoin bus. It's a school bus that now has like a bunch of freedom logos on it, LRN.fm, and this really cool thing. Let's take this call. Let's see if we can add the call. Let's see if we can add Joe to this call. Hey, is this Ian?
It is.
Hey, Ian.
Hey,
What's
I've
up?
got some comments.
Cool. All right. I'm going to see if I can get Joe in with us. Is this about going to trial in Keene?
It's about some of the comments earlier regarding different styles of activism.
Uh-oh.
I think Ian's probably going to be a sort of diplomat.
No.
Here.
He's going to
No?
big
Oh, okay.
stone in the wall.
The answer truly is both.
It'll be fun to predict what he
you're
is
both
gonna
right. Like
Lauren is always being a.
I'm not trying to be a diplomat. I'm
not
the
a
one
dipl- is
that's
it
I'm
dipl-
truly the one that's right. But I'm telling you, you're both right.
An ambassador, or I
I
used to
don't
be
know.
the ambassador of the schism. That was my title
That was
that people gave me.
Did you change your profile picture, Dale, to you looking up and doing the con?
Oh,
That was
yeah,
kind of
he did.
cheering,
He did for
actually.
Keene.
It might look like that, but I was
Yeah.
actually cheering. It's a very low res picture.
It
I was
looked
like
you're
cheering for the camera.
Because you had the Captain Kirk doing Keene.
Oh, right.
I thought this was you doing con, looking up.
That's just me goofing off at the car show in New York.
That is pretty funny. Oh, the car show.
Yeah.
What was
with Puke
this?
in the game.
Why didn't I go?
Just last
Oh.
weekend.
What a
I was just pimping their glass right here.
you're a
In space.
All right, whatever. I think they're just scared of me from the incident.
Hello? It went silent
Hey,
again.
yeah, it did. Are
What?
we just?
Do I have to talk at every moment? I'm typing. Jeez.
We have listeners that are listening to us via flamingfreedom.com/live who are still listening to us when we're off of LRN.
Yeah, that's true. Well, they're good people. Hello, good people. I'm typing to other people right now. I'm trying to get connected with. I think I am. No, with Joe and Ian. Got one more minute to try and make this happen.
I see Joe's name on this call.
Yeah, but he's not. He doesn't appear to be connected. Yep. Hey. All right.
Yes, I'm back.
Okay, welcome back.
Thank you.
So it's you, me, Ian, Lauren, and Dale. That's all the people we got on this call right now.
All right, that's it.
Yeah, just 5 people. That's cool.
I mean, I could. All right.
So you had more that you wanted to say, right, Joe? Did you have questions, or what were you calling in about? I think I plowed over here.
I was glad I tuned in when I did because I wanted to see what I should do tomorrow in court. Like, I really didn't have that great of a plan. I was like,
Yeah.
I'll sort of say like they can't prove anything.
But you're already a step ahead by saying you want to have a plan. That's good.
Yeah. All right, we come back in 10.
Tools you can download and use in your area at freekeen.com. That's freekeen.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
Just minutes remain on Flaming Freedom this evening. Probably no more time for your calls, so don't make them. But you can call next week. We've got flaming.freedom as our Skype address. We do this every Thursday from 10 to midnight Eastern on lrn.fm and flamingfreedom.com/live. On the line, we have a very special caller joining us. First, Joe Jarvis was still carrying through from last segment, and now Ian Freeman joins us from lrn.fm studios in Keene, New Hampshire.
Hey there.
Hey, Ian.
I don't want to interrupt. I mean, I think you were still talking with Joe about something, unless you want me to jump in here.
Yeah, well, all right.
They're in front of Eric a lot.
I'll just acknowledge that you're here. If you have other things that you want to say on Joe's topic, feel free to jump in. But I do want to sort of wrap up with Joe. He was saying he's going to be before infamous Judge Burke tomorrow. He wants to have a plan. I have a couple of words of advice, which is like challenging jurisdiction, asking what facts are in their possession that indicate the laws and codes apply to Joe, and challenging that at every step of the way. Do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, I think that's all great. It's not going to work, but it'll at least be entertaining, and it'll waste some of their time.
Maybe you get some good video to post.
Yeah.
Now, one route, should I not go the route of saying that if they have laws already, then they should obey things like the Constitution, where, and say they should challenge me with a jury and stuff?
What is the charge you're facing? I'm sorry, I might not have caught that part of the conversation.
No, it's just $100 speeding ticket.
Oh, okay. Oh, it never hurts to bring up the Constitution. I mean, it can't hurt the audience to hear something like that if there happens to be an audience at that time. Sometimes they'll clear the courtroom and you won't have any audience, and sometimes they'll take your case first.
But you'll have the video of it though. That
it ever, so that won't.
You want to get the video up of you making those statements. It won't help you in the case, but.
Well, it's pretty much an unwinnable situation. The only way you can really win a speeding ticket that I've ever seen is to have the cop not show up, and then you can motion to dismiss based on that once they, try to call him as a witness.
I've heard some actual.
I was hoping.
If you actually are trying to win the case, there are things you can do, like challenge whether or not the cop had, whether he had tuned his, I don't know the word for it.
Calibrated
the speeding, his device he used to catch you with. And then even if he says, yes, I did, there's like a self-calibration thing they do. There's actually, that's not considered like reliable. Or I've heard some people say that you can make the case that he needs to have it calibrated via some other objective measurement.
A tuning fork.
But
I've seen that stuff work. There is a guy who, I won't name names, but who moved to New Hampshire within the last year, who got a speeding ticket. And he said he's done a bunch of research on this issue and he was getting ready to challenge his ticket, but then ultimately he decided to take a plea. So that we won't get to see him take that on at this time.
yeah, I can only speak from, I've heard people say that these are things you can do. And so I don't know if they would work.
It's a way to kill some time, and it's kind of an interesting line of questioning. At the very least, it'll get some gears turning if there's any audience members there.
I would try to, at trial, the prosecutor is going to put the cop who ticketed you on the stand, and I would try and poke holes in his reliability and his reputation by getting the witness to. You could object and say that he's incompetent to testify. That's one possible way to get the ticket dropped. Because
here's something that Derek should have done today.
Yeah.
The parking enforcers were using the ticket as notes, and if it was the original ticket, there's a chance it might be allowed. But you can object if you notice a person using notes. You can object, and I have seen judges tell a witness once this objection is made that they have to go from memory. They cannot use notes on the stand. So if you notice the cop using notes to refresh his memory, you can object to that, and that might help a little bit, because then he might not be able to remember the color of your car.
But that just seems like in bad faith to me, Ian. Like, we're trying to, in a courtroom, presumably we're trying to get to the heart of a matter. We're trying to discover truth. And as a defendant who's trying to repress evidence and keep truth from coming out, it just seems like that's an argument in bad faith.
It's just a game, and they're not playing by any rules, so you might as well try your best.
Yeah, I can see where Ian's coming from. I do understand that human memory is really fallible, and if you're writing 6 or 8 tickets or who knows how much a day or something, maybe, I don't know. I hope that's a high number actually. But
the ticket we're dealing with today was like back in September. I mean, there's no way that hold all that detail.
Right.
Now.
I mean, the reality is they should it's just like the courts should be clearing out these stupid cases and not and just be sticking to the things that really matter, like actual crimes that have a victim and stuff. But that's not going to happen. So
one of the other cool things I was recommending to Joe is it's possible to get standby counsel in New Hampshire. I don't know how popular that is in other places, but you could have somebody at your defendant's table not speaking on your behalf, but passing you notes and such. And that's all free. So any other thoughts you want to share, Joe?
Well, I mean, I'm the one, listening, trying to get the ideas. I originally was going to go into it just sort of arguing like they have no right to really demand money from me because I've harmed no one, sort of thing.
That sounds right.
Yeah, that's a great point. And if it's made in front of an audience, then that'd be even better. But that's, of course, why we bring in cameras, too, just in case no one's there to watch in person. They can always watch later.
Is obscure okay? I mean, do I have to be all motion to dismiss or
Well, it's not going to matter.
No, do it your way. Do your style.
They're not going to dismiss. You're going to lose, but you can get your statements out there. That's the idea.
Yeah, I think it's so much better, Joe, to make arguments in plain English in your voice rather than adopting the voice of like lawyers or government speak.
So I should really just use it as an opportunity to say something on YouTube.
I think so. Yeah, the world's a stage. Use this opportunity to speak from your heart.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's what I'll do.
Cool. All right, great. Well, I'll see you tomorrow at 8:29 a.m. in the Keene District Courthouse.
8:29 sharp.
Good luck.
All right, thanks.
Cheers. And Ian,
I wanted to say that I agree with Dale that people shouldn't be divisive in the language they use towards other activism and what they're doing. So I agree with Dale on that. But at the same time, I feel like some of the most divisive language has come from people outside of Keene and also very collectivist language towards the people who are activists in the Keene area. I've never felt such divisiveness towards the activism that has gone on out here. And I'd like to point out that I've spent more time in the State House. Me, Chris Cantwell, and Daryl W. Perry are at the State House on a regular basis. Hey, Dale, when's the last time you were there working inside the system?
I haven't been there very much lately. I've worked on campaigns. I worked on I held signs for Sabriel's campaign. I held signs for Osborne and did some other work for them. So
I was just giving you a hard time.
No, it's fine. No, here, this is the thing, though.
It doesn't make sense to say that it's.
No, Derek says nothing's happening anywhere but in Keene. So it's like there's a competition to get to say that there's no point in going anywhere but Keene. And I just think that's what's so divisive about it. Like, I have had criticisms for specific activism. I have said, like, this specific thing, I have a beef with that. And I don't think I've been, I mean, yeah, I did a meme that was kind of collectivist. It said Keene, and because certain things were happening that I've criticized. But I've also, at the same time, almost in the same moments, like when I was on your show to talk about some of this stuff, I said I absolutely do not feel like this is not a sweeping statement about Keene activism. There's a lot of it I like, and in fact, I like most of the Robin Hooding activism. There were some specific cases, like there was one that you did, and there's one that Cantwell did. The only specific cases I know of that I said I don't like what happened right there.
Yeah, too bad Robin Hooding isn't happening anymore.
It's still happening. Garrett's out there on the streets on a daily basis, but
Bullshit.
It's not happening. It's not happening in the same way that it was with the major organization and multiple people participating.
Bullshit. It's not happening anymore. I don't think so.
I've seen him out there.
Well, he wasn't there today. I got a parking ticket while I was at trial for parking tickets.
Well, they targeted you as soon as they left the courthouse. They went straight for your car. That's what happened there.
One of the first Robin Hooders. I was out there with Lauren and Jim when they were first doing it.
Also,
out there like in the first months of the happening.
Then you're the one ruining the movement, Dale.
That's me.
You started it.
I have not been that. I haven't really been that collectivist, other than in a joking manner, like with the meme that said Keene.
Anyway, I've never said Keene's the only place. I think there's a lot of great places, and Keene's one of them. And people should do what they feel is right and go for it and have fun.
All right, everybody. Hold on to your butt plugs. We'll be back next week, Thursday, 10 to midnight on LRN.FM and flamingfreedom.com in the meantime. Oh, go like the Gaynarchists page on Facebook. It'll be good for you.
Since time began, tyrants.
Yay. Thanks, everybody.
There's something that's probably
Derek.
not worth the. Oh, is it over?
Yeah,
Yes,
it's over, Dale. That was our last segment. We just
Yeah.
went out. Unless we're going to do a little bonus show.
What happens when you drink?
Real quick for our people who are listening to flamingflaming.com/live. The post that I put up to announce that we're going to be on in an hour, and it had that hot picture.
Yeah.
And it had this cute thing. I said, lube up your genitals and your holes and get ready because Flaming Freedom goes live at 10 p.m.
Yeah.
And the reach on that is 4 people. That means Facebook censored
all that.
I said genitals.
And
or
one of
something.
those is me.
How is it 4 people saw that? I saw that. So are we the 4 who saw that post?
It has 5 likes and a comment, but
See,
it says reach is 4.
there, I just made SLA like it too.
So it's like absolutely not showing that to people because we said genitals, because I said genitals
Well,
in the post or something. I'm speculating here, but
oy vey.
or because it has a hot dude with no shirt. I mean, he's got pants on. It's not porn.
Doesn't Facebook have a boob sensing algorithm? I mean, those are some big pecs.
He might kind of have
and
boobs.
so like
maybe that's
they
it.
sense the breasts.
No, let's show this guy. What's the? We didn't get to my.
I could show if you here. I'll do it.
You do that. I want to close on this so we remember to talk about it next week. Here's a screenshot. 250-year-old sex toy found in 18th century Polish toilet. Is that a disgusting dildo or what?
And it was found in a toilet.
Well, it's 250 years old. I can't imagine they had the greatest plumbing then. So, do you have the hot guy?
I had it, and then it just it just went away. I
Here.
got it. I'm getting it right now.
Here you go.
Hang
Here
on.
he is.
No, it's not gonna work. Like.
Yeah, he does sort of not have eyelids. Is that the thing that Neil is into? The no eyelids look?
Oh, you mean he looks a little Asian? Is that?
Epithelial folds.
Epithelial folds, yeah. But damn.
He's gorgeous.
Yeah.
His eyes are
Man, all over.
beautiful, and everything about
This
him.
is so weird. I feel nothing. Like
That's
Oh,
not weird, Lauren. That's normal.
And that's normal.
it's so weird. I tried.
I don't understand it at all. I'm looking at this and I'm like, how can you not just find that?
That body could melt ice cream. It's just so hot. All right, hey, wait. That's enough. Here's the guy. We'll leave it on that and stop the broadcast. We'll do this next week. Peace, everyone.
Doodles.